Marcus Chen had always loved the ocean. Even on Kepler 442b, a planet 50 light-years from Earth, the vast blue waters reminded him of home. The human colony of New Pacifica sat on the edge of an enormous sea, where 3 moons created tides unlike anything on Earth. As a marine biologist, Marcus spent most days studying the strange creatures that lived in these alien waters. The local fish had scales that changed color with their emotions, and jellyfish-like beings that could communicate through light patterns. It was fascinating work, but sometimes he missed the simple pleasure of just swimming. Today was his day off. Marcus walked along the rocky shore, watching the waves crash against the strange purple coral formations. The water was warm, heated by underwater volcanic vents that created perfect swimming conditions. He had his gear ready: underwater breathing apparatus, temperature suit, and emergency beacon. Safety first, his mother always said. The beach was empty except for some bird-like creatures with 4 wings picking at seaweed. Marcus was about to enter the water when he heard something unusual. A sound that didn't belong to any animal he knew. It was high-pitched, desperate, and definitely intelligent. He looked around carefully. The sound came again, weaker this time. Marcus followed it to a tide pool area where the waves were particularly rough. Large rocks created a natural maze, and the current was tricky even for experienced swimmers. Then he saw her. The creature was unlike anything in his biology textbooks. She looked humanoid but was clearly not human. Her skin was a soft blue-green color that shimmered like fish scales. Instead of hair, she had flowing tendrils that moved like underwater plants. Her eyes were large and silver, filled with terror as she struggled against the current. She was drowning. Marcus didn't hesitate. He grabbed his breathing gear and dove into the churning water. The current was stronger than expected, pulling him toward the rocks. But years of swimming in Earth's oceans had made him strong. He fought against the waves, keeping his eyes on the struggling figure. The alien girl was trapped between 2 large rocks. Her leg appeared to be stuck, and she was barely keeping her head above water. Each wave pushed her under for longer periods. She was weakening fast. Marcus reached her just as a large wave crashed over them both. Underwater, he could see the problem clearly. Her ankle was wedged tight between 2 rocks, twisted at an angle that looked painful. She needed air, but she also needed to be freed. He surfaced next to her, offering his breathing apparatus. She looked at him with those large silver eyes, confused and frightened. Marcus pointed to the device, then to his own mouth, showing her how to breathe. Trust was a universal concept, he hoped. The alien girl took the apparatus with shaking hands. Marcus took a deep breath and went back underwater. The rocks that trapped her were heavy, but the current had shifted them into this position so the current could shift them out. He needed leverage. Finding a smaller rock, Marcus used it as a fulcrum. He placed a piece of driftwood against the larger boulder and pushed with all his strength. The rock moved slightly, but not enough. Another wave crashed over them, and he could see the girl was struggling with the breathing apparatus. Time was running out. Marcus surfaced and took back the breathing gear for a moment. "I'm going to get you out," he said, knowing she probably couldn't understand English, but hoping his tone would reassure her. Her silver eyes met his, and she nodded slightly. This time, Marcus positioned himself differently. Instead of trying to move the rocks apart, he would lift her leg up and out. It was risky. If he pulled wrong, he could make her injury worse. But leaving her was not an option. He went under again, gently grasping her trapped leg. The girl tensed but didn't pull away. Marcus felt around the ankle, understanding how it was caught. Then, timing his movement with the rhythm of the waves, he lifted and twisted her leg at exactly the right moment. She was free. The current immediately tried to drag them both toward sharper rocks. Marcus wrapped his arm around the alien girl's waist and swam hard for calmer water. She was surprisingly light, but her unusual body shape made swimming difficult. Her leg was hurt, so she couldn't help much. They broke the surface in a protected cove, both gasping for air. Marcus helped her to a smooth rock where she could sit safely. Now, in good light, he could see her more clearly. She was definitely intelligent. Her large eyes showed complex emotions: gratitude, curiosity, and something like wonder. Her injured leg had skin that was darker blue where it was bruised, and her ankle was swollen. But she was alive. The alien girl touched her throat and made soft musical sounds. It was clearly language, but unlike anything Marcus had ever heard. The tones rose and fell like singing, with clicks and whistles mixed in. She seemed to be thanking him, but he couldn't be sure. Marcus checked his emergency beacon. The signal was working, so rescue teams would eventually find them. But first, he needed to make sure she wasn't seriously injured. Using hand gestures, he pointed to her ankle and raised his eyebrows in question. She understood and carefully moved her foot. It hurt. Her expression made that clear, but nothing seemed broken. She would probably be okay. That's when Marcus noticed something strange. Other creatures were gathering in the water around their cove. At first, he thought they were local wildlife, but their movements were too organized, too purposeful. They kept their distance but seemed to be watching intently. The alien girl noticed them too. She made more musical sounds, this time calling out to the creatures in the water. Marcus realized these might be her people, her family perhaps. But why weren't they helping? Why had they left her to drown? As if reading his thoughts, the girl pointed to herself, then to the deep water, then shook her head sadly. She made swimming motions, then let her hands sink down as if showing she couldn't swim well. Marcus nodded, understanding. Even on an ocean world, not everyone was a good swimmer, but that raised new questions. How had she ended up in the tide pools? Was she exploring alone? Had she been running from something? The answers would have to wait. Marcus heard the familiar sound of human rescue vehicles approaching. His beacon had worked and help was coming. But as he looked at the grateful alien girl and the watching creatures in the water, he realized his simple day off had become something much more significant. He had no idea just how significant it would become. The rescue hovercraft arrived within minutes, its blue and white hull gleaming in the afternoon sun. Marcus waved from the rocky cove as the vehicle settled onto the water's surface. He expected to see the usual human rescue team, but was surprised when Dr. Sarah Williams, the colony's xenobiologist, stepped out alongside the medics. "Marcus," Sarah called as she waded through the shallow water. "We received your beacon signal and—" She stopped mid-sentence when she saw the alien girl sitting on the rock, still breathing heavily from her ordeal. The alien girl watched the approaching humans with wide silver eyes. Her musical language became more urgent as she spoke to the creatures still gathering in the deeper water. More beings had appeared, dozens of them now, their blue-green heads visible above the surface. They seemed nervous, maintaining their distance from the human rescue craft. "Incredible," Dr. Williams whispered as she approached slowly, her hands visible and empty in the universal gesture of peace. "This is a major first contact situation. Marcus, what exactly happened here?" Marcus quickly explained the rescue while the medical team checked both him and the alien girl. She allowed the human medics to examine her ankle, though she kept watching their faces carefully, as if reading their intentions through their expressions. "Her bone structure is similar to ours, but the joints work differently," one medic reported. "The ankle is sprained, not broken. She'll need to stay off it for a few days." The alien girl seemed to understand the medic's tone, if not his words. She pointed to her ankle and nodded, then made a gesture that clearly meant, "Hurt, but okay." The intelligence behind her actions was obvious to everyone present. Dr. Williams pulled out her translation device, a sophisticated computer that could analyze language patterns and attempt basic communication. She spoke slowly into the machine. "We are friends. We want to help." The device processed her words and produced a series of musical tones and clicks. The alien girl tilted her head, listening carefully. Then she responded with her own musical phrase. The device struggled with the translation, producing only fragments. "Gratitude, life debt, honor bound." "Life debt?" Marcus asked. "What does that mean?" Before Dr. Williams could answer, something extraordinary happened. The creatures in the water began to sing. It started with just one voice, then others joined in. The sound was hauntingly beautiful, like whale songs mixed with the purest human choir. The melody rose and fell in complex harmonies that seemed to speak of ancient traditions and deep emotions. Even the alien girl on the rock added her voice to the chorus. "They're singing about you, Marcus," Dr. Williams said, her eyes wide with wonder as she watched the translation device work. "The computer is picking up references to heroism, honor, and something about a sacred debt." The song continued for several minutes, growing in complexity as more voices joined from the deep water. When it finally ended, the silence felt profound. The alien girl looked at Marcus and spoke directly to him, her voice gentle but serious. The translation device worked harder with her words. "You, saved. My daughter, life debt, must be honored. Ancient ways, demand, reward. Daughter, Dr. Williams looked at Marcus with excitement. She's not just any alien girl. She's someone important, someone's daughter. As if summoned by the conversation, the water near their cove began to glow with bioluminescent patterns. The creatures in the deeper water moved aside respectfully as something much larger approached. Marcus felt his heart rate increase as he realized they were about to meet someone, or something very significant. The being that emerged from the deeper water was clearly related to the girl, but larger and more magnificent. Her skin shimmered with patterns of light that moved like living artwork across her body. The tendrils on her head were longer and more elaborate, decorated with what appeared to be natural jewelry, pieces of coral and pearls woven throughout. She moved through the water with incredible grace, approaching the cove without fear of the humans. Her silver eyes were similar to the girl's, but held the wisdom and authority of age. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of absolute command. The translation device struggled with her complex language. I am Ocean Singer,
Queen Mother of the
Deep Current people. You have saved my youngest daughter, Coral Dancing in Tide. This creates sacred obligation that must be fulfilled. Dr. Williams stepped forward carefully. Your Majesty, we are honored to meet you. This is Marcus Chen, the human who saved your daughter. We are peaceful beings from another world, and we meant no intrusion in your domain. The Queen Mother's expression softened slightly at Sarah's respectful tone. She looked at Marcus with an intensity that made him feel as if she was seeing into his very soul. Then she spoke again, her words slower and more deliberate. Marcus Chen of the Star Travelers. The translation came through clearer this time. You risked your life for one not of your kind. You asked for nothing in return. You acted with honor when no one would have known if you walked away. This is the mark of true nobility. Marcus felt overwhelmed by the formal tone and obvious importance of the moment. I just did what anyone would do, he said. She needed help. When his words were translated, the Queen Mother made a sound that the device interpreted as surprise or perhaps amusement. She spoke to her daughter, who responded with what sounded like an explanation. Several other aliens in the water added their own musical comments. She explains to me your words, the Queen Mother said through the device. But you are wrong, Marcus Chen. Many would not have acted. Even among my own people, the deep currents where my daughter was trapped are feared. Our young are taught to avoid them, but children sometimes disobey. Coral Dancing in Tide, Marcus was glad to finally know her name, lowered her head in what was clearly embarrassment. Her mother continued speaking. She went to gather rare shells for her coming-of-age ceremony despite being forbidden. The currents caught her and fear made her weak. She would have died if not for your intervention. In our culture, this creates a life debt that can only be repaid with a life debt. Dr. Williams looked concerned. What exactly does that mean, Your Majesty? The Queen Mother's expression became very serious. It means that Marcus Chen has become as family to the Deep Current people. Our ancient laws demand that we repay his gift of life with a gift of equal value. But more than this, he has proven himself worthy of our highest honors. She paused, and Marcus could see her making some kind of decision. When she continued, her words carried the weight of ceremony. Marcus Chen, I offer you something no landwalker has ever been offered. I invite you to visit our deep cities, to learn our ways, and to receive the reward that our laws demand. But I must warn you, this is not a simple gift. Accepting our invitation will change your life in ways you cannot imagine. Marcus looked at Dr. Williams, who nodded encouragingly despite her obvious nervousness. Then he looked at Coral Dancing in Tide, who watched him with hopeful eyes. What kind of change? He asked. The Queen Mother's reply sent chills down his spine. The kind that makes one more than human. 3 days later, Marcus stood at the edge of New Pacifica's research dock, wearing a specially modified diving suit designed for deep ocean exploration. Dr. Williams and a team of linguists had worked around the clock to improve the translation devices, while marine engineers created equipment that would allow Marcus to breathe underwater for extended periods. The human colony's leadership had been both excited and nervous about the invitation. First contact protocols demanded careful documentation, but they also recognized the incredible opportunity. Marcus would be the first human to visit an alien civilization on their own terms, as an honored guest rather than a conqueror or scientist. Coral Dancing in Tide had recovered from her ankle injury and returned to the research station each day, teaching the humans basic elements of her language and culture. Marcus learned that the Deep Current people had observed the human colony since its establishment 5 years ago, but had chosen to remain hidden until now. Your people build with straight lines and harsh angles, she explained through the improved translator. We build with curves and flowing shapes like the water itself. We thought you might not understand our ways. Why reveal yourselves now? Marcus asked during one of their sessions. Coral dancing in tide's tendrils shifted color to a warm gold. Marcus had learned this indicated happiness or appreciation. Because you proved that humans can have deep heart. That is what we call the ability to act with pure intention, without thought of reward. It is very rare, even among my people. Now, as Marcus prepared for his journey to the underwater cities, he felt both excitement and anxiety. The Queen Mother had been clear that the reward would change him fundamentally, but she refused to explain exactly how. Some gifts cannot be understood until they are received, was all she would say. The water around the dock began to glow with familiar bioluminescent patterns. The Queen Mother rose from the depths accompanied by an escort of 6 other adults. Their formation was precise and ceremonial, indicating the importance of this moment. Marcus Chen, the Queen Mother's voice came through the improved translators with perfect clarity. Are you prepared to accept our invitation and receive the reward that honor demands? Marcus checked his equipment one final time. The breathing apparatus was comfortable, and the pressure suit was flexible enough to allow natural movement. Emergency beacons were activated, and Dr. Williams had a full tracking system monitoring his vital signs. I'm ready, he replied. The Queen Mother moved closer to the dock. Then place your hand upon my shoulder, and I will guide you to wonders your people have never imagined. Marcus slipped into the warm water and swam to the alien queen. Her skin felt smooth and warm under his gloved hand, with a texture like the finest silk. The moment they made contact, something extraordinary happened. The water around them became clearer, as if Marcus's eyes had suddenly improved. The Queen Mother began to swim downward, moving faster than any human could naturally travel. But somehow Marcus found himself keeping pace effortlessly. The pressure that should have built as they descended was completely absent. How is this possible? Marcus asked through the communicator. The first gift, the Queen Mother replied. Physical harmony with our realm. Your body temporarily adapts to our environment, while you remain in contact with one of our people. They descended through layers of ocean life that Marcus had never seen before. Schools of fish with crystalline scales that created prisms of light, kelp forests that seemed to sing in harmonious tones, creatures that looked like living rainbows flowing through the water with impossible grace. But the true wonder was still ahead. The deep current city appeared gradually, like a dream becoming real. Structures rose from the ocean floor in organic spirals, their walls seeming to be grown rather than built. Coral formations had been shaped into bridges and towers, all glowing with soft bioluminescent patterns that created a map of light throughout the city. Thousands of the deep current people moved through the water like graceful dancers, their own bodies adding to the living light show. Children played in swimming formations that created complex patterns, while adults went about their daily activities with movements that looked more like art than work. This is Harmony Deep, our greatest city, the Queen Mother explained as they approached the central structures. It has grown here for over 10,000 of your years, shaped by the dreams and needs of generations. Marcus tried to process what he was seeing. The technology was unlike anything humans had developed, but it wasn't technology in the way he understood it. Everything seemed to be a partnership between the aliens and the natural ocean environment. How do you build with coral? He asked. We do not build with coral, came the reply. We sing to it and it grows to match our dreams. We ask the kelp to form bridges and it weaves itself into the shapes we need. This is the way of deep heart, to work with nature rather than against it. They entered the city through what appeared to be a main thoroughfare, a wide current that carried swimmers along designated paths. Other deep current people stopped to watch Marcus pass, their expressions showing curiosity and respect. Word of his heroic deed had clearly spread throughout their society. The Queen Mother guided him to a massive structure at the city's center, a spiraling tower that seemed to reach toward the surface far above. This is the Hall of Honor, where the greatest deeds of our people are recorded and where the ancient laws are kept. It is here that you will receive your reward. Inside the hall, Marcus was amazed to see walls covered in what appeared to be living murals. Coral formation showed scenes of deep current history, but the images actually moved, telling stories through flowing, changing art. Fish swam in and out of the murals, adding their own colors to the ongoing narrative. A gathering of elderly deep current people waited in the hall's center, their bodies showing the elaborate patterns and decorations that Marcus had learned, indicated high status and great age. These were clearly the leaders and wise ones of their society. The Queen Mother addressed them in the musical language of her people, speaking for several minutes. Marcus caught references to his name and to concepts the translator interpreted as honor, courage, and worthiness. The elderly aliens listened carefully, occasionally asking questions or making comments. Finally, the eldest among them, an ancient being whose skin showed patterns of silver and deep blue, swam forward to address Marcus directly. "Young star traveler," the translation came through with formal dignity. "I am current singer of deep memory, keeper of our oldest laws and traditions. The Queen Mother has told us of your deed, and we have discussed what reward befits such an action." The Ancient One paused, and Marcus sensed that something momentous was about to be revealed. "In all our history, only 17 individuals have been judged worthy of the gift we offer you. 12 were of our own people, performed deeds of legendary heroism. 5 were from other ocean species who proved themselves friends to the deep current people. You are the first land dweller, the first from beyond our world to be granted this honor." Marcus felt his heart racing. "What is this gift?" Current singer of deep memory moved closer, his ancient eyes studying Marcus's face through the diving mask. "We offer you the song of deep heart, young one. It is not magic, though it may seem so to your people. It is a biological gift, a sharing of our essence that will allow you to breathe in any water, to see in the deepest darkness, and to understand the speech of all ocean life." The implications hit Marcus like a wave. This wasn't just a ceremonial honor. It was a fundamental change to his very biology. But more than this, the Ancient One continued, it will give you the ability to feel the deep heart in others, to know when someone acts with pure intention or selfish motive. This gift has never been given to a land dweller because we believed your people could not handle such knowledge. But you have proven us wrong. Marcus looked around at the assembled aliens, all watching him with expressions of solemnity and hope. He was being offered something unprecedented, something that would make him a bridge between two worlds. But he was also being offered something that would make him fundamentally different from every other human who had ever lived. Marcus floated in the Hall of Honor, surrounded by the most ancient and wise members of the deep current civilization. The weight of their offer pressed down on him more heavily than the ocean depths above. To accept the Song of Deep Heart would mean becoming something more than human, but it would also mean leaving his original nature behind forever. "What exactly would happen to me?" Marcus asked current singer of deep memory. "Would I still be human?" The ancient alien's tendrils shifted to patterns of deep contemplation. "You would remain yourself, Marcus Chen. Your memories, your personality, your bonds to your people, all would stay unchanged. But your body would be enhanced, and your perception would be expanded. You would see truth where others see only surface appearances." Coral, dancing in tide, swam closer, her silver eyes filled with concern. "In our history, those who received the Song of Deep Heart found it both a blessing and a burden. To always know when others speak falsely, to feel their true intentions, it can be lonely." "Not all chose to keep the gift. It can be removed?" Marcus asked with surprise. The Queen Mother answered this time. "The song can be silenced, but only through great effort and the loss of many other benefits. Most who have received it chose to bear the burden because the gifts outweighed the difficulties." Marcus thought about his life as a marine biologist, his research into the ocean life of this alien world, the ability to truly understand all sea creatures, to breathe underwater without equipment, to see in the deepest trenches. It would revolutionize his work and open up possibilities he had never dreamed of. But there was another consideration. As humanity expanded across the galaxy, they would encounter other species, other civilizations. Having someone who could sense true intentions might prevent misunderstandings that could lead to conflict or war. "If I accept this gift," Marcus said slowly, "would I be able to help my people better understand yours? Could I serve as a bridge between our species?" Current singer of deep memory's expression brightened, his skin patterns shifting to warm gold and blue. "Ah, now you understand the deeper purpose. Yes, young star traveler, this is precisely why we offer you the song. Your people's expansion into our galaxy has been watched by many species. Some fear you, others are curious, and still others plot to test your strength. Test our strength? Marcus felt a chill despite the warm water. The Queen Mother exchanged glances with the other elders before responding. There are civilizations much older than ours who view young species as threats to be eliminated or resources to be exploited. Your colony here has been fortunate to encounter us first, as we judge species by their actions rather than their potential for conquest. But others have been watching too, added another elder, an individual whose elaborate shell decorations marked them as a military leader. The Void Hunters from the outer systems have sent scouts. They test new species through conflict and deception. Those who fail their tests face extinction. Marcus felt the full weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. This was about much more than one human receiving alien enhancements. This was about the survival of humanity itself in a galaxy full of unknown dangers. When will these tests come? He asked. Soon. Current Singer of Deep Memory replied gravely. We have detected their probe ships at the edge of your solar system. They will arrive within the span of one of your seasons. Your people must be prepared, but more importantly, they must have someone who can recognize deception and see through false offers of friendship. The choice became clear. Marcus wasn't just being offered a personal reward. He was being given the tools humanity would need to survive first contact with a hostile alien species. I accept the Song of Deep Heart, Marcus said firmly. The reaction from the assembled aliens was immediate and powerful. Their skin patterns synchronized into complex waves of color that flowed around the hall like living aurora. The coral murals on the walls pulsed with brighter light, and even the fish swimming through the living artwork seemed to dance with joy. Current Singer of Deep Memory moved to the center of the hall, positioning himself above an elaborate formation of coral that resembled both a flower and a musical instrument. Then let the ancient ritual begin. Marcus Chen of the Star Travelers, you who showed deep heart in saving our young, prepare to receive the song that will make you guardian and protector of both our peoples. The other elders formed a circle around Marcus, each taking position at one of the coral formations. The Queen Mother swam to Marcus's side, placing her hand on his shoulder once again. Do not fear what comes next, she said gently. The song will feel strange at first, but your body will adapt quickly. Trust in the process and let the gift flow into you naturally. Current Singer of Deep Memory began to sing. The sound was unlike anything Marcus had ever heard. It was simultaneously musical and biological, like a whale song mixed with the rhythm of a heartbeat. But more than that, it seemed to resonate not just in his ears but in every cell of his body. The other elders joined in, their voices creating harmonies that seemed to speak directly to Marcus's DNA. He felt his body beginning to change, starting with his lungs. The breathing apparatus he wore became unnecessary as his lungs adapted to extract oxygen directly from the water around him. His eyes changed next, the pupils expanding and the irises shifting to capture more light. The murky depths of the hall became crystal clear, and he could see details in the coral formations that had been invisible before. Colors became more vivid, and he began to notice bioluminescent patterns in the alien's skin that conveyed emotions and meanings beyond simple language. But the most profound change was in his mind. As the song continued, Marcus began to sense something new, the emotional states and intentions of everyone around him. He could feel the joy and hope radiating from Coral dancing in tide, the ancient wisdom and careful concern from Current Singer of Deep Memory, and the protective love the Queen Mother felt for her people. It was overwhelming at first, like suddenly being able to hear everyone's thoughts. But gradually Marcus learned to focus the new sense, to read the deeper currents of intention and emotion without being drowned by them. The song reached its crescendo, and Marcus felt the final changes taking place. His skin became more sensitive to pressure changes in water currents. His muscles and bones strengthened to handle the crushing depths of the deepest oceans. Most remarkably, his brain developed new neural pathways that allowed him to understand the basic communication patterns of all sea life. When the song finally ended, Marcus floated in silence, marveling at his transformed senses. He looked at Coral dancing in tide and was amazed to realize he could understand her expressions and body language at a level that transcended mere observation. Her gratitude was a warm golden feeling that radiated from her entire being. How do you feel, young guardian? Current singer of deep memory asked. Different, Marcus replied, then paused as he realized something extraordinary. He was speaking underwater without any translation device, and the aliens were understanding him perfectly. I can speak your language. The song teaches all languages of the water, the Ancient One explained. But more importantly, can you feel the truth in my words? Can you sense my intentions? Marcus focused on current singer of deep memory, and immediately sensed the alien's complete honesty, his genuine concern for both his own people and humanity, and his hope that Marcus would use his new abilities wisely. There were no hidden agendas, no deceptions, just pure ancient wisdom offered freely. I can feel it, Marcus said with wonder. Your sincerity is like a warm current in cold water. The Queen Mother smiled, an expression that Marcus now understood at a much deeper level. Then the song has taken hold successfully. You are now the first human to carry the Song of Deep Heart. But remember, young guardian, with great gifts come great responsibilities. Your people will need you in the trials ahead. As if summoned by her words, Marcus's communication device crackled to life with an urgent message from the surface. Dr. Williams's voice was tight with tension. Marcus, we're receiving signals from space. Unknown ships have entered the system. We need you back at the colony immediately. The test was about to begin. Marcus rose from the depths faster than any human had ever traveled through water, his transformed body cutting through the ocean like he belonged there. The Queen Mother and her guards kept pace beside him, their expressions grave as they approached the surface where the human colony waited in growing panic. When they broke through into the afternoon air, Marcus was amazed to discover he could breathe both water and air with equal ease. His enhanced eyes immediately spotted the three dark shapes hanging in the sky above New Pacifica. Ships unlike anything in the human fleet, with jagged edges and surfaces that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Dr. Williams and Governor Hayes stood on the research platform with a crowd of colonists, all staring up at the alien vessels. As Marcus swam to the platform, he noticed something that his new senses picked up immediately. The fear radiating from the humans was mixed with excitement and hope. They still believed this might be a peaceful first contact. Marcus could sense they were wrong. Marcus, thank God you're back, Dr. Williams said as she helped him onto the platform. These ships appeared an hour ago. They've been scanning our colony, but they haven't responded to any of our communication attempts. Governor Hayes, a stern man in his 50s who had led the colony since its founding, approached Marcus with relief evident on his face. Dr. Chen, we need your expertise here. As our xenobiologist and the only human who has successfully communicated with alien intelligence, we're hoping you can help us establish contact. Marcus looked up at the ships again, focusing his new senses on them. Even at this distance, he could feel something cold and predatory emanating from the vessels. It was like sensing a shark circling in dark water, patient, calculating, and utterly without compassion. Governor, Marcus said carefully, I think we need to be very cautious here. These may not be peaceful visitors. What makes you say that? Dr. Williams asked. They haven't made any hostile moves. Before Marcus could explain about his enhanced senses, one of the alien ships descended toward the platform. As it drew closer, Marcus felt the hostile intentions of its occupants like ice water in his veins. These beings radiated malice and contempt in a way that made his skin crawl. The ship settled onto the water's surface with barely a splash, its hull design clearly intended to intimidate. Spikes and angular projections covered its surface, and the few visible openings looked more like wounds than doorways. A section of the hull peeled open with a sound like tearing metal, and three figures emerged. They were humanoid but clearly not human, with pale gray skin stretched tightly over prominent bones. Their eyes were completely black, and their movements had a predatory grace that reminded Marcus of deep-sea hunters. The lead figure stepped onto the platform and spoke in perfect English, though Marcus's enhanced senses told him this was some form of translation technology. Greetings, primitive colonists. I am Harvester Prime Corax of the Void Hunter Fleet. We have come to evaluate your species. Governor Hayes stepped forward with a welcoming smile. Welcome to New Pacifica, Harvester Prime Corax. I'm Governor Hayes, leader of this colony. We're honored by your visit and hope to establish friendly relations between our peoples. Marcus felt a wave of cruel amusement from Corax at the governor's words, mixed with contempt for human naivety. The alien was enjoying the deception, savoring the moment before revealing his true intentions. Friendly relations, Korax repeated, his lipless mouth twisting into what might have been a smile. Yes, we are very interested in friendship with your kind. Perhaps we could discuss terms in a more private setting. Of course, Governor Hayes replied eagerly. We can meet in our main conference room. Dr. Williams and Dr. Chen here are our senior scientific staff, and I'm sure they'd love to learn about your culture. Korax's black eyes fixed on Marcus, and the alien's expression shifted slightly. Marcus felt a probe of some kind, as if the Void Hunter was trying to read his thoughts or emotions, but the Song of Deep Heart provided protection, keeping Marcus's true feelings hidden while allowing him to sense Korax's intentions clearly. Dr. Chen, Korax said slowly, you have an interesting energy pattern. Have you had recent contact with other alien species? The question was loaded with threat, and Marcus realized the Void Hunter suspected something about his transformation. I'm a marine biologist, Marcus replied carefully. I study the local ocean life. He felt Korax's suspicions spike, but the alien apparently decided not to pursue the matter immediately. Very well. Let us proceed to these negotiations. I believe we have much to discuss about your planet's resources. As they walked toward the colony's administrative center, Marcus stayed close to Dr. Williams and whispered urgently in her ear. These beings are not here in peace. They're predators and they're planning something terrible. How can you possibly know that? She whispered back. Trust me. When we get to the conference room, watch for my signals. If I give you the abort gesture, activate the emergency protocols immediately. Dr. Williams looked confused but nodded. She had worked with Marcus long enough to trust his judgment, even when she didn't understand his reasoning. The conference room was New Pacifica's largest meeting space. With floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean, Governor Hayes took his seat at the head of the table, while Korax and his two companions arranged themselves opposite the humans. Marcus positioned himself where he could observe all the aliens while staying close to the emergency communication panel. Now then, Governor Hayes began cheerfully, perhaps you could tell us about your civilization. We're always eager to learn about other cultures and technologies. Korax's amusement spiked again, and Marcus sensed the alien was about to begin the real deception. Certainly. We Void Hunters are an ancient race, explorers and collectors of knowledge. We travel the galaxy seeking young species who show promise. That's wonderful, Dr. Williams interjected. We'd be honored to share our knowledge with you and to learn from your experience. Oh, you will definitely be sharing, Korax replied, and Marcus felt the predatory satisfaction in those words. In fact, we have a proposal for you. Your species shows certain qualities that we find useful. We would like to invite selected members of your population to join our fleet. Marcus's enhanced senses screamed warning as he felt the true meaning behind Korax's words. The alien wasn't talking about voluntary recruitment. He was talking about slavery, possibly worse. Governor Hayes leaned forward with interest. That sounds like an incredible opportunity. What kind of positions would be available? Manual labor primarily, Korax said with false casualness. Your species appears well suited for work in hostile environments. Mining operations, construction in dangerous areas, that sort of thing. The cruel satisfaction radiating from the Void Hunter made Marcus sick. These beings saw humans as nothing more than expendable tools to be used and discarded. Of course, Korax continued, we would need to conduct thorough testing to determine which of your people are best suited for various tasks. This would require relocating a significant portion of your population to our testing facilities. Marcus caught Dr. Williams's eye and made a subtle cutting gesture across his throat. She paled as she recognized the abort signal, but Governor Hayes was too focused on the aliens to notice. How significant a portion? The governor asked. Oh, perhaps half your population initially, Korax replied with mock thoughtfulness. If the tests go well, we might require more later. It's really for the betterment of both our species. Marcus felt the complete lie in those words, along with Korax's anticipation of the violence to come. The Void Hunter wasn't just planning to enslave humans. He was planning to take them by force if necessary. Dr. Williams cleared her throat carefully. Governor, perhaps we should discuss this proposal privately before making any commitments. But Korax was done with pretense. His expression shifted to one of cold command, and Marcus felt the alien's true nature finally emerge fully. I'm afraid that won't be necessary. You see, this wasn't actually a negotiation. The two Void Hunters flanking Korax drew weapons that appeared from hidden compartments in their suits. Energy weapons that hummed with barely contained power. Your species has failed our evaluation. Korax continued with satisfaction. You are too weak to resist, too trusting to survive, and too primitive to be worth preserving as anything more than slave labor. We will take half your population now, and return for the rest once we've determined their most effective uses. Governor Hayes sat frozen in shock, but Dr. Williams was already moving toward the emergency panel. Marcus prepared to use his enhanced abilities for the first time in combat, hoping the Song of Deep Heart had given him more than just sensory improvements. The real test was about to begin. Moved with speed that shocked everyone in the room, including himself. The Song of Deep Heart had enhanced more than just his senses. His reflexes were now faster than any unenhanced human could achieve. He dove across the conference table, tackling Dr. Williams and pulling her away from the energy blast that seared the air where she had been standing. The smell of ozone and burned plastic filled the room as the alien weapon left a smoking hole in the emergency communication panel. Everyone down, Marcus shouted as he rolled behind the heavy conference table with Dr. Williams. Governor Hayes dove for cover behind his chair, his face pale with shock and terror. Korax laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Impressive reflexes for a primitive. You're definitely good breeding stock. He raised his own weapon, a sleek device that seemed to absorb light around its barrel. Don't worry, we're not trying to kill you. Damaged goods sell poorly in the slave markets. Marcus felt the alien's confidence and cruel amusement, but underneath those emotions was something else. Surprise. Korax hadn't expected any human to move that fast, and he was beginning to suspect that Marcus was more than he appeared. The conference room's emergency systems activated, sealing the doors and triggering colony-wide alerts. Red lights flashed and the automated voice announced, "Security breach in progress. All personnel to emergency stations. This is not a drill." Through the large windows, Marcus could see the 3 Void Hunter ships beginning to move into position around the colony. But he also saw something else that gave him hope. Disturbances in the water near the shore where the deep current people were rising from the depths. Your little alarm won't help you, Korax said as he approached the overturned table. We've jammed all your communications and our ships carry enough firepower to level this entire settlement. Surrender now, and we'll only take the 50% we originally planned. Marcus closed his eyes and focused his enhanced senses, trying to understand the layout of the room through the Void Hunters' positions and movements. He could feel their confidence, their assumption that the humans were helpless prey, but he could also sense something they didn't know about, the presence of the deep current people surrounding the building underwater. Dr. Williams, Marcus whispered, can you access the building's water intake systems from here? What? Why would you? She stopped as she saw the intensity in his transformed eyes. There's a maintenance panel in the corner, but it's across the room from the aliens. Trust me, Marcus said. When I give you the signal, flood the room. All levels, maximum pressure. Dr. Williams looked at him as if he'd lost his mind, but she nodded. She had seen too much in the past few days to doubt that Marcus might have a plan beyond normal human capability. Marcus stood up slowly, his hands visible and empty. Korax, you're making a mistake. You said you evaluate species based on their ability to resist and survive, but you haven't seen what we're truly capable of. The Void Hunter's amusement spiked. Oh, please enlighten me. What can your pathetic species do that we haven't already accounted for? We adapt, Marcus replied. And we make allies. Korax raised his weapon. Pretty words, but words won't stop energy blasts. You're right, Marcus agreed. But water will. He made eye contact with Dr. Williams and nodded sharply. She lunged for the maintenance panel and activated the emergency flood systems. Water began pouring into the room from every intake, sprinkler, and emergency outlet in the building. The Void Hunters immediately realized the danger to their energy weapons and began moving toward higher ground. But Marcus was already in motion. The moment the water reached ankle depth, he dove into it and seemed to vanish. Swimming through the shallow water with incredible speed and grace, Marcus approached the nearest guard from below. The Song of Deep Heart allowed him to move through water as naturally as the deep current people, becoming nearly invisible to surface observers. The guard's weapon discharged harmlessly into the water as Marcus grabbed his legs and pulled him down. Underwater, with his enhanced strength and natural swimming ability, Marcus was far superior to the air-breathing alien. The guard thrashed helplessly as Marcus held him submerged until he lost consciousness. Korax spun around, trying to track Marcus's movement through the increasingly deep water. Impossible. No land dweller can move like that. I'm not just a land dweller anymore. Marcus's voice came from everywhere and nowhere as he moved through the flooded room. I carry the song of Deep Heart, and the ocean is my ally. The second guard fired wildly into the water, but Marcus was already behind him. Using his enhanced strength, he lifted the alien and threw him against the wall with enough force to stun him unconscious. Korax found himself alone, standing on the conference table in rapidly rising water, his weapon aimed at empty space. "What are you?" he demanded, fear finally creeping into his emotional signature. Marcus surfaced directly in front of the alien leader, water streaming from his transformed features. His eyes now held an otherworldly quality that reflected his connection to the ocean depths. "I'm someone who learned that true strength comes from protecting others, not exploiting them." "You're some kind of hybrid," Korax snarled, backing away across the table. "The Deep Current people have contaminated you with their genetic manipulation." "They gave me a gift," Marcus corrected. "The ability to see the truth in others. And the truth about you is that you're nothing but a coward who preys on those you think are weaker." Through the flooded room's windows, tentacles and bioluminescent forms could be seen moving through the water outside. The Deep Current people had arrived in force, surrounding the Void Hunter ships with superior numbers and intimate knowledge of aquatic combat. Korax's weapon trembled in his hands as he realized the scope of his miscalculation. "This planet is under our protection," he shouted into his communicator. "Retreat to minimum safe distance and prepare orbital bombardment." But Marcus could sense the desperation behind the order. The Void Hunter ships were designed for intimidation and raiding, not for fighting an entire aquatic civilization in their natural element. Through the windows, energy blasts from the ships were being deflected by formations of deep current warriors, using techniques that turned the ocean itself into a shield. "Your ships are trapped," Marcus said calmly. "The Deep Current people have been fighting in water for millions of years. Your energy weapons lose power rapidly in their environment, while their bioelectric abilities are perfectly adapted for aquatic combat." As if to prove his point, one of the Void Hunter ships suddenly listed to one side as its hull was breached by what appeared to be a coordinated attack from below. Emergency lights flickered across its surface as water rushed into its systems. Korax raised his weapon toward Marcus with desperate fury. "If I can't have your colony, then I'll at least eliminate the abomination you've become." But before he could fire, the conference room's main window exploded inward in a shower of water and glass. The Queen Mother of the Deep Current people flowed into the room like a living tidal wave, her magnificent form crackling with bioelectric energy. Korax's weapon discharged reflexively, but the Queen Mother's natural electrical field deflected the energy blast harmlessly. She spoke in her musical language, and Marcus's enhanced abilities translated her words perfectly. "Predator of the Void," she said with ancient authority. "You have violated the sanctuary of those under our protection. By the laws of the deep, you are judged and found wanting." Korax tried to run, but there was nowhere to go in the flooded room. The Queen Mother's escort of warrior-caste Deep Current people surrounded him, their own bioelectric fields creating a cage of living energy. Through his communicator, panicked reports came from the other Void Hunter ships. Their systems were failing as the aquatic aliens used techniques the spacefaring raiders had never encountered. Energy weapons meant for vacuum combat were useless against opponents who could conduct and redirect electrical energy through the water itself. "This isn't over," Korax snarled as he was surrounded. "The Void Hunter fleets will return in greater numbers." Marcus felt the lie in those words. Through his enhanced senses, he could read Korax's true emotions. The Void Hunter leader knew that his species would never risk another encounter with the Deep Current people. They were bullies who only attacked those they believed to be defenseless. "No," Marcus said with certainty. "They won't. Your people only prey on the weak and isolated. Now they know that humanity has powerful allies and defenders who will not tolerate predators in our space." The Queen Mother approached Marcus, her expression filled with pride and satisfaction. "You have used the Song of Deep Heart well, young guardian. Your people are safe, and the galaxy is a little less dark than it was before. Governor Hayes emerged from behind his chair, staring in amazement at the transformed Marcus and their alien allies. Dr. Chen, what have you become? Marcus looked at the governor, then at Dr. Williams, and finally at the defeated Void Hunter leader. With his enhanced senses, he could feel the wonder and gratitude radiating from the humans, the respect and kinship from the Deep Current people, and the defeated rage of the predator who had learned that not all prey was helpless. I've become what I needed to become, Marcus replied, a bridge between worlds and a guardian for those who cannot protect themselves. The observation deck of the newly constructed Harmony Station, watching the sunrise paint the ocean in shades of gold and blue. The station floated on the surface between New Pacifica and the deep current city of Harmony Deep, serving as a symbol of the unprecedented alliance between humanity and their aquatic neighbors. The changes to both civilizations had been remarkable. Human engineers worked alongside deep current bioarchitects to create structures that blended technology with living coral. Scientists from both species shared research that had advanced their understanding of the galaxy by centuries. Most importantly, the alliance had attracted the attention of other peaceful species who sought to join what was becoming known as the Guardian Coalition. Dr. Williams approached Marcus with a datapad containing the morning's reports. The Crystalline Collective from the Andromeda sector has sent another diplomatic request, she said. They want to establish trade relations and add their protection to our alliance network. Marcus took the pad and scanned through it with his enhanced vision. But more importantly, he could sense the genuine, peaceful intentions in the message through the bio-emotional resonance that the Song of Deep Heart allowed him to detect even in written communications. They're sincere, he confirmed. Schedule a meeting for next week. And make sure to include representatives from all our current allies. The Guardian Coalition now included 7 different species, each bringing unique capabilities and perspectives. The Deep Current people provided aquatic mastery and bioelectric technology. The stellar moths from the Outer Rim offered unparalleled space navigation abilities. The Stone Singers could shape matter at the molecular level. Each species had been attracted by humanity's unusual approach to first contact, offering friendship before advantage, protection before profit. Coral dancing in tide surfaced near the station's water platform, her adult markings now fully developed after her coming-of-age ceremony. She had become Marcus's primary liaison with the Deep Current people and had learned to speak perfect English during their daily meetings. The Council of Depths has made their decision about the expansion proposal, she said, pulling herself gracefully onto the platform. They approved the construction of 3 more Harmony stations around your other colonies. That's wonderful news, Marcus replied. What about the defensive network? Also approved. The bioelectric warning system will extend to cover all human settlements within 5 light years. No predator species will be able to approach undetected. Marcus nodded with satisfaction. The network would use a combination of deep current biotechnology and human quantum communication to create an early warning system unlike anything the galaxy had seen. More importantly, it would extend protection to human colonies that didn't have the benefit of direct alien allies. Governor Hayes joined them on the platform, his expression showing the confidence that had replaced his earlier confusion and fear. Marcus, the Colonial Council has officially approved your appointment as Earth's first galactic relations coordinator. Congratulations. The appointment had been inevitable once word of the Alliance reached Earth. Humanity's homeworld was eager to establish its own connections with peaceful alien species, and Marcus's unique abilities made him the obvious choice to lead those efforts. Thank you, Governor. I'll do my best to honor the trust both our species have placed in me. Our species? Governor Hayes asked with a smile. You still consider yourself human? Marcus considered the question carefully. His body was no longer entirely human. The Song of Deep Heart had changed him at the genetic level, giving him capabilities no unenhanced human possessed. But his thoughts, his emotions, his loyalty to his own people remained unchanged. I'm human plus, he said finally. Enhanced but not replaced. I think that's what makes me effective at this job. I can understand both perspectives without losing either one. Coral dancing in tide's tendrils shifted to patterns of amusement. The Deep Current people have a saying, the river that joins 2 seas becomes something new, but it never forgets the mountains where it began. That's beautiful, Dr. Williams said. I think it describes Marcus perfectly. A communication alert chimed through the station's speakers, followed by an excited voice from the monitoring station. Commander Chen, we're receiving a priority message from the exploration ship Endeavour. They've made contact with a new species in the Vega system, and the aliens are asking specifically to speak with you. Marcus felt a familiar thrill of excitement, mixed with responsibility. Each new contact was an opportunity to expand the coalition of peaceful species, but it was also a test of his abilities and judgment. The wrong decision could mean the difference between alliance and conflict. Put them through to my office, Marcus said, and alert the cultural analysis team. As he walked toward the communication center, Marcus reflected on how much his life had changed since that day he had decided to take a simple swim in alien waters. Saving one drowning girl had led to transforming himself, forging an unprecedented alliance and taking on the responsibility of representing humanity to the galaxy. But he had no regrets. Every morning, he could sense the contentment and security radiating from the human colonists who no longer feared the unknown dangers of space. Every day he felt the gratitude and respect of the deep current people who had found in humanity a species worthy of their ancient gift. Every week brought new opportunities to extend protection and friendship to other species who sought alternatives to the predatory relationships that dominated much of the galaxy. The communication center was buzzing with activity as technicians established contact with the distant exploration ship. Through the quantum relay, Captain Rodriguez's voice came through clearly from light years away. Commander Chen, thank God we reached you. We've encountered a species called the Song Weavers. They're highly advanced but extremely cautious about contact with unknown civilizations. When they learned about our alliance with the Deep Current people, they specifically requested to speak with someone who carries the Song of Deep Heart. Marcus felt a familiar stirring in his enhanced senses. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and apparently word of the Guardian Coalition was spreading to species he had never heard of. Put me through, Captain. Let's see what the Song Weavers have to say. The connection stabilized, and Marcus found himself face to face with beings that looked like living music made flesh. Their forms shifted and flowed in patterns that his enhanced vision could see were actually complex mathematical sequences. Greetings, Bridgewalker Marcus, their leader said in a voice like harmonic frequencies. We have heard of your transformation and your alliance building. We are Song Weavers of the Third Resonance, and we seek to join what you call the Guardian Coalition. Marcus felt the sincerity in their communication, along with something else, a deep loneliness that spoke of eons spent in isolation. Afraid to trust other species, we welcome your interest, Marcus replied carefully. But first help me understand what you bring to our alliance, and what you hope to gain from it. We bring the ability to communicate across any distance instantaneously, and to detect deception in any form of communication. We seek friendship, companionship, safety from those who would exploit our gifts. Marcus smiled, recognizing the pattern. Another species with incredible abilities, driven to isolation by fear of predators, now seeking the protection and companionship that the Guardian Coalition offered. I think we can help each other, Marcus said, but I'd like to meet in person to discuss the details. Would you be willing to send a delegation to our Harmony Station? The Song Weaver's forms brightened with what Marcus interpreted as joy. We have been waiting for such an invitation for many cycles. We will come. As the communication ended, Marcus looked out through the center's windows at the ocean where human children played alongside young deep current people, learning each other's languages and games. Above them, ships from multiple species moved through the sky in peaceful formation. Below them, the lights of Harmony Deep glowed with the warm welcome of an ancient civilization that had chosen to share its wisdom rather than hoard it. Marcus Chen had started as a simple marine biologist who loved the ocean. Now he was a bridge between worlds, a guardian of peace and a protector of the innocent. The Song of Deep Heart had changed him physically, but the experience of saving coral dancing in tide had changed him spiritually. He had learned that the greatest rewards came not from what you could take, but from what you could give. Not from what you could conquer, but from what you could protect. Not from standing alone in strength, but from standing together in purpose. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers, but it was also full of possibilities. And as long as there were species willing to choose cooperation over conquest, friendship over exploitation, the Guardian Coalition would continue to grow. Marcus touched the communication device on his wrist, sending a message to Earth. Another peaceful species wishes to join our alliance. Recommend expanding the Galactic Relations Department. We're going to need more Harmony stations. The response came back quickly. Approved. How many more species do you think we'll encounter? Marcus looked out at the infinite ocean and the limitless sky beyond it, feeling the song of deep heart resonating in harmony.